Emmett Till arĩ wa mĩaka 14 rĩrĩa ahũrĩire kĩhũni mũirĩtu mũthũngũ. Angĩonete hau gabere, akona atĩ gĩko gĩkĩ arĩ arĩhire na maica make, ndangĩaumire arorete mwena wa mũirĩtu Carolyn Bryant.
It takes a lot of hatred and a lot of rage to do the kind of violence that was done to Emmett Till.
Mahinda-inĩ ma mĩaka ya 1950 bũrũri-inĩ wa Amerika ya mũhuro, rũmena na mũthitũkanio wa rangi nĩ ciatũmĩte andũ a Afrika arĩa matwarĩtwo bũrũri-inĩ ũcio ta ngombo makorwo na mathĩna maingĩ.
Emmett was born the 25th of July, 1941.
Emmett Till, kamwana ka mĩaka 14 kuma mwena wa Chicago, Illinois, nĩ gacerire itũra rĩa Mani, Mississippi gũcerera andũ a family kũrĩ mwaria nyoni 21 mwaka wa 1955. Ndamenyaga atĩ rũgendo rũu rwarĩ mũtino mũnene mũno harĩ maica make.
All that day will live in infamy.
Kũrĩ mũthenya wa mwaria nyoni 24, Emmett na ciana cia mamawe nĩ mathire nduka-inĩ ĩmwe ya kwao ĩrĩa yarĩ ya Roy Bryant na mũtumia wake Carolyn. Ũhoro nĩ ngũrani, no nĩ gwĩtĩkĩrĩtwo atĩ Emmett nĩ ahũrĩire Carolyn kĩhũni kana akĩmwĩra ũndũ mũna, ũndũ ũyũ ũkĩagarara watho wa ciĩko wa andũ airũ kwĩyeherania na kwaga gũtukana na athũngũ a Amerika ya mũhuro.
He and I left the store together. We didn't have any conversation with Mrs. Bryant. We left together. She came out of the store and went to her car, which was parked on the north side of the store. And as she was going to her car, that's when Emmett whistled at her, the famous wolf whistle.
Yes, he whistled at Carolyn Bryant when she came out of the store.
No one knew that he was going to whistle. And when he whistled, it scared everybody in the bunch. And when he saw our reaction, he got scared.
Miss Bryant came out and she was going to her car and someone said that she was going for a gun.
We all panicked, including Emmett. We jumped in the car, and when we got in the car just wasn't moving fast enough.
And we sped down the gravel road.
Makinyĩrĩte kwĩrĩhĩria, mũthuri wa Carolyn, Roy Bryant, na mũrũ wa nyina J.W. Milam nĩ manyitire Emmett mĩgwate kuma nyũmba-inĩ ya gukawe mathaa-inĩ ma rũcinĩ rwa mwaria nyoni 28.
This is Mose Wright. I am the uncle of Emmett Louis Till. Sunday morning about 2:30, someone called at the door. And I said, "Who is it?" And he said, "This is Mr. Bryant. I want to talk with you and the boy." And when I opened the door, there was a man standing with a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in the other hand.
So they came to my room first and they had a pistol in one hand, a flashlight in the other, and they looked on me and Maurice was in bed with me, and they recognized that Maurice or myself, we weren't the one that they were looking for. So they passed on through the house to the third room where Emmett was in the bed with Simi.
I hear this noise in the bedroom, and I look up and I see this Roy Bryant. I knew him. And I saw the other tall, bald-headed man. They was hollering and fussing. They told me to lay back down and go to sleep. But I kept my eyes open and saw what was going on, that they was going to take Emmett. And at that point, I didn't know where they was going to take him. I said, well, maybe they're going to take him home.
They aroused him out of the bed, and I don't think he really knew what was going on. So he was answering their question, but he wasn't saying yes, sir, and no, sir. So they became irate about that. And they started cursing and swearing. And I think he wanted to put on his socks or something with his shoes, and it was a terrifying experience. He had no idea what was going on, really. Yeah, had no idea the kind of people that he was dealing with, he was faced with. He had no way of conceiving what the South was like.
In the room, my mom, she offered them money not to take the boy, and that's when Roy kind of hesitated. But Marlon wouldn't have nothing of it. He had made up his mind. He was the one with the gun. He had a .45 in his hand, and he was calling the shots. And he claimed that he was just going to take him up the road and just whip him and turn him loose. That's what he said he was going to do.
They were telling my grandfather if he's not the one, they was going to bring him back. And they left. And after they left, nobody said anything to anybody.
And they marched him to the car, and they asked someone there, was this is the right boy? And the answer was, here. And they drove towards money.
After they left, Mama was very upset. And Daddy was walking around, all he could say, he was saying, That's all he could say.
I do know that you don't whistle at a white woman in Mississippi. And I was praying that they didn't kill him. I wasn't going to kill him, just maybe torture him a little bit and bring a kid back to his grandfather.
When I'm laying there in the bed, waiting for them to bring him back. Every car that I would hear coming down the road, I thought it was them bringing him back. But then when it began to get turned towards dawn, I knew they weren't going to bring him back.
Nĩ mamũhũrire mbara ya gĩthigithanio makĩmũtwara rũtere-inĩ rwa rũĩ rwa Tallahatchie, magĩcoka makĩmũratha rithathi ya gĩthithi-inĩ, makĩmuoherera kĩhurutĩri kĩnene gĩa cuma ngingo-inĩ na magĩikia mwĩrĩ wake rũĩ-inĩ rũu. Mwĩrĩ wa Emmett nĩ wonekanire thutha wa thikũ ithatũ. Gukawe Mzee Wright nĩ ahotire gũtambũra mwĩrĩ ũcio kumana na gĩcũhĩ kĩrĩa Emmett ekĩraga.
I was at home and Mo Wright called me and said they done found the body. And I want to go down there. They identify his body. And I carried him down there. And when I carried him down there, the smell was so bad till I got about 5 or 6 feet from the body. And Mo Wright went up there and pulled his ring off and said, that's him. And then Mo Wright said his tongue been cut and pushed back in his mouth, and his private had been cut off.
Kĩambĩrĩria nĩ gwathanirwo Emmett athikwo Mississippi, ona maitũ wake atarĩ aramenyithio ũhoro wa gĩkuũ gĩake. Mzee eciria ũhoro ũcio rĩngĩ, atigire kwenja mbĩrĩra akinyĩte nuthu gũthiĩ gũcaria thimũ ya gũkinyĩria maitũ wa Emmett ũhoro wa kĩrĩa gĩathiĩte na mbere.
The body was there in a pine box. It had an awful stench to it. It was getting ready to put the body in the ground when we got word to stop the burial.
Sheriff Strider wanted an immediate burial because he knew that it wouldn't be good for the state of Mississippi for people to see what had happened to Emmett Till. And the only way you could stop people from seeing was to bury it. I mean, get it out of sight. I don't know what authority he had to bury my son.
Mami kũmenya ũguo nĩguo gwathiĩte na mbere, nĩ augire acokerio mwĩrĩ wa mũriũ wake. Ona kũrĩ ũguo nĩ ekĩrithirio kĩrore maratathi kuga atĩ nĩguo acokerio mwĩrĩ nĩ etĩkĩrĩte kwaga kũhingũra ithandũkũ. Kwenda gũkwĩra atĩ rĩrĩa ithandũkũ rĩu rĩakinyĩire Mamie Till-Mobley nĩwe weyoeire nyundo kũrĩhingũra.
Do you have a hammer? He said, what do you mean? He said, yes, I have a hammer. I said, I mean, if you can't open the box, I can. And I'm going in the box.
Kĩrĩa onire augire no nginya angĩonirie bũrũri mũgima.
I saw his tongue had been choked out and it was lying down on his chin. I saw that this eye was out and it was lying about midway the cheek. I looked at this eye and it was gone. I looked at the bridge of his nose and it looked like someone had taken a meat chopper and chopped it. And I looked at his teeth because I took so much pride in his teeth. His teeth were the prettiest things I'd ever seen in my life, I thought. And I only saw 2. Well, where are the rest of them? They'd just been knocked out. And I was looking at his ears. His ears were like mine. They curled, they're not attached, and they curled up. The same way mine are. And I didn't see the ear. Where's the ear? And that's when I discovered a hole about here, and I could see daylight on the other side. I said, now, was it necessary to shoot it? If that's a bullet hole, was that necessary? And I also discovered that they had taken an axe and they had gone straight down across his head, and the face and the back of the head were separate.
Kuri mweri 3 mugaa wa keri, Mamie Till-Mobley ni ahingurire ithanduku ria Emmett Till na akira andu othe a Chicago moke mone uria mekite mwana wake.
I said, no, let the people see what I've seen. I said, I want the world to see this.
Cira wa Roy Bryant na J.W. Milam waguciririe andu a bururi wothe wa Amerika, ona gutuika kwari na wira muingi o hamwe na arume acio gwitikira ni manio mekite ngero yo makihungwo mahuri ngatheti-ini imwe ya kuu. Kiama kia Marika kiria giathikiririe cira ucio, kiria giothe kiari na athungu, ni gietikanirie ati matiari na ihitia ria kuraga Emmett Till.
The brutal lynching of Emmett Till, one of the most barbaric atrocities committed against a child in the history of mankind.
Kwimwo kihoto kia Emmett na kurekererio kwa aria mamuragire ni gwekirire kio kiama kia gutetera ihoto cia andu. Ikuo giake giatwikire kiriro gia kirurungano gia kurugamirira kihoto na wiganania gatagati ka athungu na andu airu. Rosa Parks ni aririkanagwo akiuga ati kuragwo kwa Emmett Till nikuo gwatumire arege kurekereria giti giake gikarirwo ni muthungu mari bathi-ini mwena wa Montgomery, Alabama. Uyu uri undu uria wacungiririe mugomo wa bathi cia Montgomery.
1955, when my only child was killed, it seemed that there was nothing for me to live for. I wanted to die.
Igai ria Emmett Till ni ati egutura aririkanagwo thiini wa bara ya kuruirira ihoto cia andu airu a bururi wa Amerika. Gikuo giake gitiari gia tuhu tondu ni giateithirie kurehe ugaruruku munene bururi-ini ucio wao.
For 47 years, I have not wasted any time hating Carolyn Bryant. They became inconsequential so far as I was concerned. It was as if they didn't even exist.
Ritwa ria Emmett Till ni rikandikwo thiini wa mabuku na rituike kimenyithia gia kurua na muthitukanio wa nyakeru. Guku ni Wĩrore Tales, kuria ng'ano cia ma ni cia kumakania gukira cia gwitungira. Ngina hindi wengi Wĩrore.